What's up? I'm Blake.
I'm Vero.
I'm Christian.
And I'm Taylor.
And
we're gonna bust a myth.
So what we're going to be doing today is explaining a myth that was given to us by our teacher, Mr. Anderson, to prove that it was true or false. Here's the myth.
Basically, what this myth is saying is that after the Declaration of Independence was written, people started to realize that they weren't actually living according to how it was written in the Declaration. A lot of people thought that having slaves was essential to their survival and economy, and we're going to explain that further today.
This myth has two sides of it. It can be true in some ways and it can be false in some ways.
The myth talks about how in the Declaration of Independence it says all men are created equal, and how it's contradictory to the way people are actually living, like it says here in the article. The institution of slavery contradicted the spirits of the revolution and the idea that all men are created equal. People were still having slaves even though some states have abolished owning slaves.
Here's our first piece of evidence. This was pulled from a book about the American Revolution and Confederation. After recognizing what they were doing, the evidence says, for a time the leaders of the revolution recognized this fact and took some steps towards corrective action. What this is basically saying is that some leaders in America actually did try to take steps towards the abolishment of slavery.
This evidence also talks about how there was an effort to stop slaves from being imported in. The Continental Congress voted to abolish importation of slaves, and most states went along with the prohibition. This is essential to abolishing slavery because how could you stop slavery if you don't stop slaves from being brought in?
Our next piece of evidence is this article, Building a New Nation, and it talks about how there were parts of America that abolished slavery and parts that didn't. It says no state south of Pennsylvania abolished slavery, and in both North and South, the law discriminated harshly against freed blacks and slaves alike. Basically, even if some places did abolish slavery, there was still racism for an extremely long time.
What this evidence says is soon after the Revolutionary War, however, a majority of Southern slave owners came to believe that slave labor was essential to their economy. What this is saying is people were so used to the fact that slavery was supposed to be around. Slavery was supposed to be right, and slavery was just a part of the way they live. They believed that it was essential to the way they live and how they live. And they didn't want to have to do more work, and they most definitely did not want to have to treat them the same as whites.
We came to the conclusion as a group based on our evidence that this myth is partially busted. Parts of the myth are true. Yes, some places did realize that this was contradictory to what they were doing, and in fact, abolished slavery. But even after doing so, racism still was a part of their life. But some places didn't, because they believed that this was essential to the way that they were living and their economy.